what an incredibly bizarre night of trying to play pinball I just had. And I say night, it was like an hour. But it was my evening. I just don't even know what happened. I didn't get a lot of pinball played. I did get a lot of walking in. I probably should still be out somewhere else trying to do some, playing, but here I am talking instead, as we tend to do, on episode 185 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Let's go. Thank you for listening. Welcome to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast commentary. I'm a man out of quarters. How are you this evening? Let's rip the curtain open in the hotel room, look back out at Manhattan, still here in Long Island City, Brooklyn area, New York, joining you for the second night in a row. Coming to you not live from muggy, hot, and gross New York City here on August 12th, 2015. Hope you're all doing well. I hope you all had more fun trying to play pinball than I did tonight. So, I'll just give you the Cliff Notes version of my evening. I got done with work about 6:30, and I found myself literally at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. That's where the Brooklyn Nets play. I think the Long Island, the New York Islanders are moving there. I saw Pearl Jam there a couple years ago, and there was crowd building up. And I asked the girl at the parking attendant, because she said, "Oh yeah, good luck, you got out of here now. Prices are about to go up." And I said, "What's going on tonight? What's the event?" And she goes, "I don't know, some '80s thing." So I had to Google it because I was curious, because I thought if it's some '80s thing like Def Leppard and Kiss, then hey, maybe I found something to do tonight. But no, it was some '80s thing like Toto and Yes. Specifically, it was exactly Toto and Yes playing at the Barclays Center. So, needless to say, I vacated the premises. So I went to play pinball. Actually, I went to get Thai food first. Then I went to play pinball. And I went to one of my favorite places, the Sunshine Laundromat in Brooklyn, forgetting that they're under renovation. Forgetting that last time I was there, the very friendly and very good dude for the pinball world, owner of Sunshine Laundry, Pete, let me know they were going to be adding more pinball and making it even better. But I went there anyway, and a ton of games are strapped up and put up on top of the washing machines because it is still a functioning laundromat. And they did have some games right in the front, but it was really hot and sticky and muggy in there because it's a laundromat. I don't believe there's air conditioning, and it was gross. So I played some Attack from Mars, and that was fun. And then somebody else came and started playing Monster Bash. Somebody else was playing Cactus Canyon. And I noticed the little jewelry watch repair shop thing that was always right at the front of the Sunshine Laundromat was gone. And that was interesting. And I did all I could until I was just sweating and gross and still in my work clothes. So I just had to leave. So that wasn't very much fun. That place is going to be awesome again once they get all the games back down and working. Can't wait till they're back up and running full on. But there still is pinball there. So if you're in the area, there's pinball there. Just not like it was and like it will be. So then I went and found a Thai place near my hotel, which also put me very near a place called the Creek and Cave, which I have talked about on my show before. And Pinaholic, Pinside user Pinaholic, Al from New York, has games in there. And I was literally within walking distance. Well, sort of walking distance. I was in Teresa walking distance. I was really in Nate's going to drive and find a new place to park distance, but I walked it in the muggy, hot evening weather and went to the Creek and Cave. And there was live stand-up comedy going on in one of the rooms. The Creek and Cave is performance and a band area and a restaurant and pinball and a bar. All this stuff. So it's interesting. Only in New York City. And when I walked down, the one room was packed with 30 people watching dude, I assume, do stand-up comedy. The door was shut, so I couldn't hear him, but I could see him through the glass wall. And the pinball machines were on, and there was only one guy in there. But I walked up to The Walking Dead, and the guy in there goes, "Oh no, somebody's playing that." And sure enough, there was 3 players up there on ball 3 with no credits, and somebody was just not plunging ball 3. I don't know where they were. The entire time I was there, they never came and played their game. So I didn't get to play Walking Dead. So then I went to grab Sopranos, because I thought, you know what? I'll play a game I never play, and we'll talk about it on the show tonight. And as I did that, guy runs in from the bar and goes, no man, I'm playing that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then he starts playing, and about 20 seconds in, he cradles up and he yells to the other guy, who was playing Whitewater, hey man, I gotta go in there and do my set. Can you hold my ball? And like, I thought this was like all a joke on me or something at this point. So dude walks over and grabs the right flipper and holds it. So I put money into Russell. Actually, there's a flannel shirt hanging on the shooter rod for WrestleMania. And I looked at the guy, I said, so is this game held too? Because now I'm being grumpy and not being nice. And I'm like, I probably said it more like, so I suppose this one's held too, like being a jerk. And he goes, no man, no, that's my shirt. So he grabs his shirt. So he's got his Whitewater game going. Somebody's got Walking Dead going. Never did see this person. He's now holding a ball on the right flipper for dude who just went in to do a stand-up comedy set on Sopranos. And I play I put $2 in to get 3 credits on WrestleMania. And I play well into my second credit when he finally is like getting mad that this dude left him to hold his ball cradled. Literally on ball 3. He's cradling this ball. And I thought, man, this guy's got to have like 400 million points or something. And I looked up and it was like 25. It was nothing. It was like literally a bad game. Saving ball 3. Frugal pinball players here in I guess that's Queens? I don't know. Whatever. So he finally, as I actually finished with WrestleMania, we'll talk about that in a second, and went down to play Star Trek because they have Star Trek Premium. So I went down there, put $2 in, and immediately regretted it because it was so out of level. I mean, I don't think I've ever played a game on location as out of level as that Star Trek was. The ball was just, like, running to the left. And I almost walked away from it, but I thought, nope, let's just play it as it lies. So as I'm down there, I finally see dude call over somebody with a masking tape. And I kid you not, friendly listener, dude tapes the right flipper button in with this guy's ball cradled on the flipper so that he can go finish his Whitewater game, which I think he said he had the grand champion score on and had a bunch of credits, which then he left and never did play it. So I'm now in this place by myself, playing this completely out of level Star Trek, hating it, with Whitewater with 4 credits, but gosh, don't touch that. Dude just earned those 4 credits. Don't think about The Walking Dead because, there's a game in progress here. There's 3 players on here. Don't know where any of them are, but there's 3 players listed here. And a literally taped in flipper button cradling a ball on The Sopranos. So at this point, I gave up. I just gave up. I thought, you know what? It's not my night. Because tomorrow night, I'm going to end my day at some point down near Asbury Park on the Jersey Shore, and I'm going to go to the Silver Ball Museum, and I'm going to have lots of games I can play and less annoying people, hopefully, around me. So I love all the people in pinball. I just love some of them a lot less, if that makes sense. So I did get 3 games in on WrestleMania. Had not played that since the last code update. There's definitely more going on. There's more sounds. The music's pretty good on that game. I like the music. Good. They've got a good feel and vibe to that game going. I hate the wrestling ring. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't like the kickers. I don't like the gameplay. I don't really love the layout of the game. But I will say this about that game. It's really different. The shots are really different. It's got super vertical laid out slingshots, so they're very up and down, and the flippers have that really steep downward feel to them, so it doesn't feel like my Metallica game at all. It doesn't feel like Tron. It doesn't feel like Simpsons Pinball Party. It's its own thing. I guess it's close to Mustang, 2 Trudeau games with the Trudeau gap between the flippers and all that. But it is really a different game. So if you're that guy with money to burn and theme doesn't matter to you, or maybe you like wrestling, and you're just thinking to yourself, I just need a game that's different. I'm sick of playing Tron and Metallica and AC/DC. WrestleMania is right there waiting for you because it does play very different. I'll give it that. I scored pretty good. I got to 24 million, and replay was set at 25 million, of course. So I did okay on one ball. But guy holding the flipper next to me was a little unnerving. It's one thing to be at Pinburg where you have like the 3 other people you're playing with like staring over your shoulder, and you just know all of them are just going drain, drain, drain. Come on, dude, drain. Stupid podcast guy, drain, drain, drain. That's one kind of pressure. But that's like competitive pressure. It's another to have this like hipster guy like really annoyed standing next to you, just all hunched over, holding this flipper button, just huffing and like, oh, Like, where'd he go? I'm like, well, he's doing his comedy. He told you that's where he was going. I don't know. That's just me ranting. It was a weird night. Unreal. Very much unreal. But that's what I got going. That's a trip report. Darn it. That is a trip report.
Trip reports.
Thank you. All right. So, on with the show. To bigger and better and brighter and just, more awesome. So I, tonight, rewatched a couple things that I watched on my phone while sitting on planes yesterday, and just didn't talk about because I wanted to really give them the full screen experience and watch them. There's 2 short documentaries out right now that are new that are really cool, and I'm going to talk about them both here right now. The first one is one that we've known was coming for a long time, and that is Wizard Mode, which is a documentary that will be a feature-length documentary at some point in the future, made by a film group called Salazar, and they have now released a short version, and I think it runs roughly, a little over 10 minutes, and it's the footage and the story that they're telling of Robert Gagnon from Canada, who is a top 10 pinball player, and Robert has autism. Robert's ranked number 6 in the world. I actually met and shook Robert's hand at Pinburg. I had not actually met him face to face before. He's a really sweet guy, and you will watch this and you will be sort of blown away because this is a cool story. I worked in a school when I was in college that taught children with autism and some other severe learning disabilities, and they talk about it in the documentary a little bit that a lot of people with autism, when they get interested in something, tend to get really, really interested and want to really focus in on it. And I think it's Robert's mom in the documentary makes this really interesting point about how Robert's probably played more pinball than most people because his mind will let him focus so intently on something. And the story is pretty amazing, and somebody had told me this probably a year and a half ago when I first saw the film crew following Robert, that said, he's come a long way in where it used to be his parents taking him to the pinball tournaments and the shows, to where he now travels, I think, without his parents now, and he's really stepped up his gameplay, his social interaction. And he's amazing to watch. He doesn't play like everybody else. He has his own style and vibe to it. And I think this documentary is the kind of thing that, it's not directly about pinball, but it's totally about pinball, if you know what I mean. It's called Wizard Mode. Obviously, we know what that reference is. And it's all about this person who has this affliction. Is that what you call autism? I mean, autism is such a weird one because it's not a disease. I'm going to step all over this, but I think most of us at this point in our lives, if you're listening to the show, I would think know somebody who has autism in some degree. And to be able to see someone grab onto pinball, which we all like and love, and not just use that as something to make them happy, but excel at it. And Robert says, some of the quotes Robert says are just kind of gave me chills when I heard him say it about you people will respect you if you're a good person, things like that. And that's paraphrasing. But he says he wants to be like Keith Elwin. He says he wants to be number 1 in the world. I love it. I mean, I love it. It literally made me tingly all over watching it. And I think you're going to watch this short. You're going to want to see the full length, which will come out, I believe, next year sometime. And you're going to root for Robert Gagnon. And I think that it's a neat story that could bring people who aren't into pinball, if you know what I'm saying. Because I think this will play to a very wide audience. This will play to, housewives in middle America who haven't laid their hands on a pinball machine in their entire lives. Right? This will play to, 22-year-old dude who's just watching TV, flipping to the channels, and sees this really cool story about this guy overcoming autism and succeeding and being the top of the heap of something that's kind of so specialized like pinball. It's neat. It's a cool story. I would check it out. It's posted all over Facebook right now. If you go to Vimeo, Vimeo.com, that is a video hosting site. And if you do Vimeo.com/Salazar Film, Salazar Film, you will find Wizard Mode. I'm sure if you just Google Wizard Mode Robert Gagnon, you'll find it. It's been posted on Pinside. It's pretty cool. You can check out their official website at wizardmodefilm.com. Sign up for the updates, and they will email you as more stuff comes out on the full-length feature. But definitely check it out. I think it's one of the coolest stories going on in pinball today, for sure. All right, another very cool documentary, and this one is by documentary maker Lindsay Cook. It's called 1 Quarter at a Time, the Pinball Hall of Fame. All right, so this kind of is a specific little snapshot look. It's a short documentary. I believe it's in the 7-minute range that is focused around Tim Arnold in the Pinball Hall of Fame. And there's people from that you would know from Coast to Coast Pinball in the documentary. Zach Sharp, Josh Sharp, Gene X Wong is on there, and a lot of people who are big on the tournament scene. I think they filmed some of this footage at the Pin Masters last year, and it's really a nice piece that kind of drives home the point of how special the Pinball Hall of Fame is, because right now we have this surge in new places with lots of games. It seems like there's more places now to play pinball than there was, say, 7, 8, 9 years ago. But the Pinball Hall of Fame was really one of the, I don't want to say the first, because there's probably somebody out there about to scream at me and go, no, my buddy's place was the first. But it was one of the, really, when you talked about where can I go play a ton of pinball machines when the drought was happening in pinball, even before I was, checking Pinside every day and dreaming of doing this crazy podcast, I still always was like, I got to go to the Pinball Hall of Fame. My buddy Zach, who I work with, who kind of dragged me back into pinball to a degree, he was already going and making trips to the Pinball Hall of Fame. So it's very famous. It's a landmark. One of the things that pops up a lot with talk about the Pinball Hall of Fame is Tim Arnold, the guy who runs it. And people will criticize him for him maybe being, not the friendliest person, or crotchety is a word that I comes to mind, and whatnot. And then you have the other side of people who say he's the biggest sweetheart in the world, and how dare you? I've never really dealt with him, so I have no direct opinion. But I can tell you this. Watching this documentary, it's really, I don't want to use the word humanizes, because Tim's obviously a human, but it really softens the edges on Tim a little bit. And he talks a little bit about how he got to this idea of having this Pinball Hall of Fame, and he was saying he was hosting house parties with pinball, and he was getting 200 to 300 people in his house, and he thought, oh, I need to go do this. So it's a nice documentary piece on that. I like what Josh Sharp says towards the end, where he's talking about the future and people looking back on pinball. It's really a poignant little moment. I think it ends on a great note. It's fun. It's nice. I love seeing kind of higher end looks at pinball like this that are filmed beautifully, put together nicely. Editing's great, with cool music, and it just shows off pinball. Like, I could show this to my mom, and my mom would get why I'm into pinball. So I really applaud everybody that worked on this one as well. A lot of good stuff going on right now. So check that one out. If you search 1 Quarter at a Time, the Pinball Hall of Fame, you'll find it. If I was a really professional podcaster and had all my ducks in a row, or if I just loved you all more, friendly listener, I would put all this stuff linked into the, quote, show notes. But as you know, I'm not going to do that, because that's just not how we roll. So anyway, check those both out. You will enjoy, and you'll probably watch them more than once.
Forum static.
Yes, static from the forums. And this is static from the Tilt forums. Tiltforums.com. Very cool website. If you haven't been following along here, check it out, tiltforums.com. It's other conversation about pinball that's not Pinside, and kind of a more focused on playing at a higher level, competition, rules of games, things like that. So there was a post on Tilt Forum that I really, really liked and thought was awesome, because it's literally one of those sort of semi-obvious questions, and it's one that's been running through my head, and I'm definitely going to like integrate this into the next conversations that I might have on this show with really good players when that happens again. But the thread started by Jerf. Not exactly sure what a Jerf is, but Jerf asked in his title to the thread, multi-ball cradling and other skills overused by amateurs. And he wrote, are we amateurs overusing the cradle during multi-ball in competitive play? It's so sexy to see a pro cradle up and just start nailing jackpots, but it's so easy to screw up when you've got one flipper raised and you miss a shot. And unless you know the rules of the game intimately, those attempts at cradle separations seem to go awry quickly. In a competitive setting, are we better off just flailing and keeping the multi-ball alive as long as possible until we can really master the necessary multi-ball cradle skills? Or do you think it's worth attempting to get control and getting one or two good shots on a jackpot before inevitably draining one or both balls? Are there other pro skills that you see amateurs trying to emulate that tend to be more harmful than helpful? This is a great topic. I love this topic because I try, when I go to the big tournaments, whether it's been Papa, Pinburg, etc., to watch better players. And when I have really good players in groups that I'm playing in, or I just have the ability to watch them on the screens, I try and take something away from those players. I remember very much watching, and I don't even remember who it was at this point, but I watched somebody, and definitely an A-level player, just do a simple, ball was coming to a left return really quickly, held the left flipper up the whole way through, ball just ran right across to the right flipper, so easy, trapped up on the right, take the shot, and I was like, oh, why don't I do that? It's a thing that I've done, but I don't think about it, so I don't do it. So then I started doing it more, and lo and behold, on a game like America's Most Haunted, which is really fast, and you're constantly trying to get control of the ball, I have a new skill. So I'm always trying to grab little things. Now, you can't help but watch a guy like Keith Elwin, who the pose of having two balls on a flipper and one on the other is named after, the Elwin pose. You can't help but watch that and see that and think, okay, that's what I need to do. You can't help but watch Bo and Karen's just, tear apart Attack from Mars by, cradling two balls and just opening the visor and killing the spaceships. So you want to do it. But like this Jerf has pointed out here, oftentimes, when lesser skilled players like me, and probably some of you, friendly listeners, if we're all honest with ourselves, some of us screw this up pretty badly. Because you finally get to that spot, you've got your two balls cradled, and your one ball cradled over here, and that's hard enough as it is sometimes. And you aim at your next shot that's going to be your big jackpot, and you brick it. You hit the stand-up target, and now you've got a ball careening back, possibly towards the big center drain, possibly to your flipper with two other balls, which you've got to make a decision. Do you let that thing bang off? Do you try and shoot up? What do you do? Sometimes you flip on accident. You have all the balls going everywhere. And oftentimes all three balls just everybody out of the pool and we're done, right? That happens. So then I watch somebody like Andre Massenkoff, Carl D'Angelo, guys who I think of as more the West Coast style player. That's in air quotes because I know there's not really a West Coast style, but the West Coast style player to some. Yes, I know Keith Elwin lives in San Diego. I know. Who just kind of play more on the fly. I see more of that out of guys like that, and I think, well, maybe I don't need to trap up. So the answer, obviously, is not black or white. It's gray. And a lot of the people who answered in this thread talk about, well, maybe it's game dependent. Maybe some games it's better than others. And I have mixed results. Taking my Metallica as my biggest reference point, there are games where I have scored a lot of points by trapping up and continually, hitting jackpots, or if I'm in a stackable multi-ball, trying to get another multi-ball going while being safe and holding a ball or two on a flipper so that my game can continue. And it's a mindset that I work on a lot of times when I do finally drain out of a multi-ball and back down to one ball. There's this tendency, and this is a whole other tangent, but I'll just throw it out there. There's this tendency for me, and I would assume many other players, we're all not so different. When I drain down to one ball, I feel like I've come so far, I must be near the end, right? Like, that ball really wants to drain. It's been alive for so long. When in reality, that ball doesn't know if it's first flip, 10,000 points, or if we're on, 7,000 flip, crank it up lit, jackpot's coming, whatever. It doesn't know. It's just like the first flip. But it's me. It's internally, I'm, feeling pressure. So I have to work on thinking, okay, we're back to the beginning. Now here we are. We just gotta, make your shots. And if I could get to that point while I'm in a cradle position, while I'm holding two balls on a flipper and have a ball ready to fire, I would be a better player, and I work on that. And at times, I'm great at it, and I'm also at times very, very poor at it, and look like I'm just a poser trying so desperately to look like the pros, the A-level players. But it's a really great conversation. There's some good stuff in there. I think on some games, I'm better off just going with it. I know that I could tell you on The Walking Dead, any attempts I've ever made at cradling and shooting has been just miserable. Whereas on Star Trek, I can cradle, I try and get two on the left, and I try and just crush the spinner. And it's worked for me. I've put up some great scores on Star Trek doing that. Even though that might not be where the jackpots are, but if I could just over and over control and do that, if the spinner's going. So definitely game dependent, definitely something I like working on. I like things in pinball where I can see my progress happen. I like to see, oh, you know what? When I first started playing this particular game, I couldn't make these shots very well, and now I've got them dialed in. I love that. And things like live catching, where sometimes I'll consciously say, okay, I'm going to live catch this entire game. I'm going to do everything I can to live catch and try and get aims going with my live catching. Or I'm going to dead flip as much as I can on this game from all different parts of the flipper. I love seeing where I'm dialing those skills in, and I will get better, hopefully, from that. But I really liked this thread. I think that it's, part of the fun of pinball is that there are people that are way better than most of us, and you can sort of strive to get there. So anyway, check that thread out, and check out tiltforums.com if you're into really the higher level playing scene and whatnot. There's probably something interesting for you at tiltforums.com.
Going up?
Going down.
All right, tonight on Going Up, Going Down, we're going to talk about a game that I think is increasing in either value or its luster or its desirability, and we're going to talk about a game that is decreasing in either its value, its luster, or its desirability, if you know what I'm saying. So, game Going Up. It's America's Most Haunted. I mean, I just got an email from someone about a week ago that said, hey man, I haven't heard you talk about your America's Most Haunted very much. If you ever look to sell it, please call me first. I'll give you more than you paid. That is literally what the email said from someone I do not know. That's pretty cool. There's been a couple threads from some AMHs going up for sale. I think one was I think the asking price might have been $7,000. I think one was $6,000. I think that it has set into some people out there in the community that A, this is a good game. B, there's only 150 of them ever, and currently 80 or so out there in the world. And C, if you're that collector type going for that rare air, those really hard to find titles, this kind of is going to end up being a famous game. This is spooky game number 1. So I think we've also had a bunch more shows with the game being taken out and shown to the public, and more people have been exposed to what I think is really, really, really a great game. And I think it's going up. I'm not in that game because I want to make money on it. I don't plan on ever selling mine. It's sort of, to me, a little piece of pinball history that coincides with this show and all that, But I think it's definitely going up in value and sort of desirability. It's cool. I mean, it's really cool. I don't have a lot of hard numbers to give you on that, other than I think I could sell it for quite a bit more than I paid for it right now. I could easily do that, and there's not a lot of pinball machines in the past few years that's true about. So definitely I feel like America's Most Haunted, with increased exposure at shows, with the collectors going up. Going down. This is a game that I've never connected with, so I thought about it earlier today as possibly for going down, because what happens when I'm trying to think of a going down game or a going up game sometimes, I think of it and then I have to go vet the game to see if my hunch is right. And sometimes I'm just dead wrong. But my hunch was right on this game. The game is Stern Pinball's 2008 release, Shrek. All right? So here's the thing about Shrek. 2008. This is before Stern started kind of hitting the home runs with their game releases. This was a fairly low production run. I don't know exactly what that run is. I don't think we have solid numbers. I know that this is a re-theme of Family Guy, which came out the year before, about a year and a half before. So Shrek's 2008, the number that Pinside lists is 600 produced. I cannot confirm that, but I know it's less than 1,000. I don't know that. I'm just saying it like I do. So some of you will believe me. But there's there's certainly not 3,000 or 4,000 of these games out there. So it's fairly rare. I've never, ever liked this game because I cannot stand the theme. And I can't stand this theme on multiple levels. I don't like the look of Shrek, the movies. I don't like the sound of any of the characters. I really hate the look of the wife of Shrek. That is maybe one of the most hideous looking characters in all of times. Like, she is so hard on my eyes, I can't describe it, because they tried to make her almost human looking, but she's not. She's green and has this weird nose and these ears. I hate it. I hate it. I've never seen one of these movies. I will not watch them. I don't like it. I also don't like that stupid song by whoever. I'm blanking. The All-Star song by that band that nobody cares about anymore. So I don't like much about this. I don't like the green color. I don't like the green side rails, etc., etc., etc. And now you're probably wondering, what about Family Guy? We'll get to that in a second. But I've never liked Shrek. So if you think back a couple years ago, before all the AC/DCs and Metallicas were sold, if you wanted a late model DMD game, like late model, a few years old, there weren't tons and tons and tons of choices, right? There was the big hits were Simpsons Pinball Party, Lord of the Rings, but you had a lot of these middling Stern games, so they kept their value. Shrek was a $4,500 game, and a lot of people seem to still think it is. I'm here to tell you it's a $3,500 game. I know that's going to make some of you mad that own Shreks, but it's a $3,500 game, and here's why. There has been a Shrek in very good condition on Pinside for 102 days at $4,200. Make me an offer. There's been a Shrek for almost a month on Pinside, home use only, mint for $4,450 or best offer, etc., etc., etc. If you go to Boston Pinball and look at their eBay sales summary, 0 Shreks have sold, right? Oh, so you say, well, people aren't dumping them. No, people can't sell them. Nobody wants to buy it for the prices being asked. The problem here is people are viewing this as on par with X-Men Pro, on par with Avatar, on par with, I don't want to say AC/DC or Metallica because those games are so highly thought of, but they're viewing it sort of on that next tier of Stern games. It's just not. It doesn't have that cachet. It doesn't have that desire. So people are listing them for $4,500. Look at eBay is even worse, of course. They're not selling. The average sales price ever on Shrek, I gotta find this again, hold on, ever is $4,000, and that includes one that sold for $2,715. I don't know if that was just a destroyed one. There's 25 sales histories according to Boston Pinball. So I think this game's probably $3,500. And we can debate the game. Look, all pinball is good pinball. I say that all the time. I have played my fair share of Shrek because for a time it was one of the closest games on location to me when I didn't have pinball machines in my possession, so I played it a lot. If you look at its ranking on Pinside, its historical rating, as it would, a year and a half ago, if we go back to, I think, January of 2014, Shrek was still in the top 100. February 14th, it was ranked, February of 2014, excuse me, it was ranked number 100. If you fast forward to August of 2015, it has dropped to 132. That's a big drop for a late model Stern DMD game. That's a big drop, and that wasn't like right after release. Because, I mean, when this thing, early days of Pinside ratings, this thing was top 50, then top 70, dropped almost out of the top 100 in early 2011, and then climbed back up. Had a little bit of a resurgence. And then it's steadily been dropping. And then the rating histories, the actual ratings that people are giving it, those have fallen down as well. So it is what it is. I know a lot of people instantly say, oh, I love the mini play field or this or that, kind of gimmicky. I think the theme has sort of died off. Shrek was a big, kids movie craze 10 years ago now, basically. There's other themes. I think it's the danger of using children's themes in pinball. I think for longevity's sake. But Shrek, to me, is definitely going down. And I think people will dump these games and finally unload them, and you'll see this game settle in somewhere in like the $3,500 range, is my guess. So, what about Family Guy, right? Well, Family Guy doesn't have a theme that is so offensive to my senses. I'm being dramatic, I know. Family Guy is still a thing people watch. People love that show. It's darker comedy. It's more adult. It's got an edge to it. I don't know if there were more Family Guys made or not, but Family Guy, to a degree, has kept its value a little bit more. Surprisingly, and this really surprised me when I looked up its ratings on Pinside, its ratings history, because we've seen Shrek fall all the way down into the 130s. In my head, I thought, oh, well, Family Guy is going to be, somewhere probably around 80 or 90. It's not. It's top 50. Family Guy is still in the top 50. It's ranked number 48, and it has only dropped in the last year and a half, in that same time period, 7 spots. December 2013, number 41. So Family Guy clearly has more staying power, and it's basically the same game layout-wise. So theme, call-outs, sound, rules, that stuff matters. That stuff matters. What do you want in your house? If you're a 35-year-old dude with like an office and some cool stuff hanging on the wall, do you want Shrek or do you want Family Guy? Most of you want Family Guy. If it's either or, obviously. So I thought that was kind of interesting. When you go and look up the Boston Pinball info on Family Guy, you will see, actually that's Addams Family, which is not what we're talking about. You will see 2 of them have sold this year for an average sale price of $32.50. Average selling price all time is $39.61. So as Family Guy has not slipped in the ratings as much, its price, because I think there's more of them, is lower than Shrek. And it too, I believe, will settle in somewhere in that $3,500 to $3,700 price range. I think that's just simply what's going to happen with all the AC/DCs, all the Metallicas, all the Star Treks, all the Walking Deads, all these games that have kind of been big hits that have come out, the Trons of the world, and more. I think we're seeing it with Kiss now, with all these larger run, more sought after titles are going to push down anything that didn't really, hold its head up. I think we saw it already with Monopoly, and now we're seeing it with Shrek and Family Guy. So, just my opinions and some not so scientific information there for you.
Check the email.
Heck yeah, we're going to check the email. Of course we are. All right. Hey, Nate. I've been following your adventures into major tournaments, and it's obvious you enjoy them a great deal. How much better are you now than, say, 2 years ago? Do you get nervous? I do. I can barely keep my hands still the first few balls in even the smallest little home tourney or a local league setting, for sure. Trying to get better, but something you joked a while back sticks in my head. For as much as I love this game, I sure am bad at it. Did I say that? It sounds like something I would have said. All the best. I look forward to every morning when I see a new C2C pop up on my phone, Adam. Well, Adam, I do like tournaments. They are a lot of fun. I'm definitely getting better. I'm still inconsistent. That is what haunts my play, is I'm very inconsistent. I know more about more games, and I know more about approaching different games when I just need to get a better score than the people I'm playing. Do I get nervous? I get excited. I don't know that I get really nervous like I used to. I know my first Papa qualifying attempts, I was really, like, nerves, like loose, shaky feeling hands. I definitely had that. I don't think I have that as much anymore because I've had a lot of successes, not like winning tournaments or anything, but I've had a lot of, like, hey, I played great. Like, that's all you need, I think, to get over some of that, is to go out there and play really well a few times, and you'll start to kind of shake that. There's nothing to me, though, like getting into, like, the local setting and playing with people who are friendly and aren't judging, which really nobody's really judging. I mean, let's be clear. That's all in our heads. But being able to sort of, like, meet some people and talk to them about it, and also, sometimes at these big tournaments you feel like everybody's doing well but you, but then needing to hear all the bad beat stories that everybody has, you're like, oh, okay, well, that happens to everybody. So I'm definitely getting better. I do love the game, and I sure am bad at it. That's a good quote. I'll keep that in my mind. But thank you for the email, Adam, and best of luck improving there for you. Read rules. I like to read all the rules. That's, like, my thing. I love that. All right. Hi, Nate. I loved the Roger Sharp and Sons show from Replay FX. I thought you were joking about sitting on the floor until I saw some photos posted on Facebook. What a cool moment in Coast to Coast history. My question for the show, if you want, apparently I do want, who do you really want to interview that you haven't? I know you get suggestions from time to time, but I'm curious, who would you book if you could have anyone on the show? Thanks so much. Hope to see you at Expo. Matt D. Well, Matt, who would I want on the show? I'm on the spot. I wish I had screened your email better. I would have made a list. I would like to talk to John Borg. And John Borg's name was brought up in the Pinside thread for this show. Somebody asked if he'd done an interview, and maybe he has done some interviews. I don't know. I also know John doesn't love public speaking, but I've not approached and asked, so I haven't been told no, so maybe I'll try and reach out. I want to talk to Keith Johnson, Jersey Jack Pinball. I think that would be an incredibly interesting interview. I would love to interview Lyman Sheets, but everybody that I've ever sort of mentioned that to in passing, like, hey, do you think Lyman would come on? They just look at me and go, no. So I haven't, what's the word? How am I trying to put this? I haven't felt good enough to go get that rejection yet, if that makes sense. And then there's actually a few people, a couple players that I really want to have on the show that are going to come on the show. So I have a few that I've really wanted to talk to and get to dive into sort of their thoughts on pinball and how they play and how they've seen it grow and this and that. I have some of that actually kind of loosely lined up, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So, very few people have ever said they don't want to be on the show. Usually it's just because they're shy or they don't think they're interesting. That's the reason, and I will tell most of those people we'll find something to talk about, right? So thanks for the kind words. The Roger Sharp with Zach and Josh thing from Replay FX was awesome. It was really impromptu, fun. Roger is full of stories. I have all intentions of having Roger on the show again because there's lots more to talk about and lots of great history there. So that's going to do it. That's episode 185. I really am having a blast doing shows again, sort of back on a normal schedule. I'm not going to Alaska or going to Pinburg. We're just out working and talking pinball and finding pinball. I can't guarantee I'll do a show tomorrow night because I'm going to go to the Silver Ball Museum, and then I'm going to drive all the way back up to the city, I think. Or maybe I'm staying in Jersey tomorrow night, but like North Jersey at the top. So I don't know. We'll see what the timing is like. But until episode 186, thanks for listening. Play more pinball. Take care.